Welcome back to Midnight Affair Tales. Thank you for joining us.
The roar of the plane's engine faded as Liam Grayson stepped off the military transport, his boots hitting the tarmac with a heavy thud. He inhaled the crisp night air, his body still wired from deployment. 7 months. 7 months of missing his wife's touch, his daughter's laugh, the simple comfort of home. He clutched his duffel bag, his heart pounding, not with anxiety, but anticipation. Madison didn't know he was coming home tonight. This was supposed to be a surprise. The cab ride felt too long. Every mile stretched the tension in his chest. His fingers itched to hold his daughter, Aubrey. 6 years old now. Had she changed? Did she still wake up in the middle of the night asking for daddy? As the taxi pulled up to his house, Liam smiled. Warm porch lights, the faint flicker of the TV inside. This was his world. His peace. Then, something shifted. Through the living room window, he saw 2 wine glasses on the coffee table. One half full, one lipstick stained. His pulse slowed. The air felt heavier. Not paranoia. Instinct. He grabbed his key, pushing the door open softly. The house smelled of vanilla candles and faint perfume. Not his cologne. Not something familiar. From the hallway, soft footsteps padded against the hardwood floor. Then, a voice not his. "I should go before he gets home." A man's voice. Deep. Too comfortable. Too familiar. Liam's breath caught in his throat. The walls felt like they were closing in. He stepped forward, heart hammering. And then, Madison's voice. Low, guilty. Just a few more minutes. His vision blurred. His grip on the duffel bag tightened until his knuckles turned white. Who the hell was in his house? Liam didn't move. His breath was slow, controlled, a soldier's instinct kicking in. He wasn't the type to barge in blind. He needed clarity. His fingers flexed, the urge to tear the door open and break the bastard's face nearly overwhelming. But he waited. A shift of fabric. A quiet sigh. The distinct sound of a zipper being pulled up. His stomach clenched. He turned back toward the front door, stepping out onto the porch before they saw him. He needed time. Information. His hands trembled as he pulled out his phone, scrolling to Madison's number. He called. Through the window, he saw her startled reaction. She grabbed her phone quickly. "Hey, baby. Are you okay?" Fake. Too fake. Liam forced his voice to stay steady. "Yeah. Just landed. Had some delays." He watched her body relax. She didn't know. She didn't know he was watching. "I miss you so much, babe," she continued. "I can't wait to see you. Aubrey's already asleep, but she'll be so excited in the morning." And then the slip. A woman's voice, faint but audible, in the background. "Tell him I say hi." Not Madison. Her friend, Erica. Liam's blood ran cold. Erica was a gossip. A drunk. A woman who didn't know how to keep her mouth shut. Madison's face froze. She stammered, forcing out a nervous laugh. "Oh, Erica's here. We had some wine." Liam didn't react. He knew how to wait. How to listen. "You sure?" he said, testing her. Madison swallowed. "Of course. Just us girls." Lies. Liam had heard a man's voice. The next morning, Liam sat at the breakfast table, watching. Madison acted like nothing was wrong. Smiling. Kissing him. Talking about how Aubrey had learned to ride her bike. But Liam wasn't hearing her words. He was watching her eyes. The way they flickered, the way she couldn't hold his gaze too long. Then, Aubrey ran into his arms, her little body warm, innocent, safe. "Daddy, I missed you so much." He hugged her tight, inhaling her scent, baby shampoo, Madison's perfume. He had dreamed of this moment. But when he pulled back, he saw something he hadn't seen before. Aubrey's face. Her features. His breath stilled. Her nose. Her eyes. Her everything. He wasn't sure what it was, but something didn't add up. Why did she look different? His hands went cold. His mind spun. And then, as if fate was taunting him, Erica walked in. Hungover, groggy, and still wearing yesterday's clothes. She looked at Liam, and then at Madison, and then at Aubrey, and she paled. Liam saw it. The hesitation. The way her lips pressed together as if holding something in. And that's when his gut told him something was very, very wrong. He wasn't just imagining things. Something was off, and he was going to find out what. Liam sat in his truck, gripping the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles turned white. He couldn't ignore it anymore. The nagging doubt had turned into something worse, a gut-wrenching suspicion that refused to let him breathe. Aubrey was his little girl. He had rocked her to sleep, kissed her scraped knees, promised to protect her forever. But now, was she really his? He opened his glove compartment and pulled out the DNA test kit he had ordered in secret the day before. His heart pounded. This felt wrong, like a betrayal of his own daughter. But what if the real betrayal had already happened? His mind flashed back to last night. Erica's pale face, Madison's nervous laugh, the man's voice. No, he had to know. Taking a deep breath, he walked back into the house. Madison was in the kitchen, scrolling through her phone. She didn't even look up. "Aubrey," Liam called out, forcing his voice to stay normal. "Come here, sweetheart." His little girl ran toward him, her arms wide. His heart clenched. "Want to play a secret game?" he asked, keeping his tone playful. She giggled. "A secret game?" He pulled out a cotton swab. "Daddy just needs to do a magic trick." "Open wide." Aubrey obeyed, laughing as he quickly swiped the inside of her cheek. His throat burned as he sealed the sample, hiding it in his pocket. "Is it a fun trick?" she asked. Liam forced a smile. "Yeah, baby. The best one." But deep inside, he prayed the results wouldn't destroy him. Liam stared at the envelope sitting on the table. It had been 3 days. 3 days of pretending everything was fine. 3 days of waking up next to Madison, forcing a smile when she kissed him. 3 days of looking at his daughter, wondering if his entire life had been a lie. He traced his fingers over the paper. Once he opened it, there was no going back. His breath hitched. His body felt like it wasn't his own. A soldier, trained for war, and yet he had never been this afraid. But fear wouldn't change the truth. With shaking hands, he tore the envelope open. The words hit him like a bullet. Probability of paternity, 0%. His stomach dropped. No. No. The world blurred. His pulse roared in his ears. He read it again, his eyes scanning over the letters as if they would magically change. 0%. Aubrey wasn't his. Liam's breath came in ragged gasps. His hands trembled, crushing the paper in his fists. His little girl. His baby. She wasn't his. His vision blurred with rage, grief, and something else, a darkness he hadn't felt in years. His wife had lied to him. For 6 years. His best friend had betrayed him. His home wasn't a home. It was a crime scene. The chair screeched against the floor as he stood up, his mind spiraling. And then, for the first time in his life, Liam Grayson smiled. But it wasn't a smile of happiness. It was the kind of smile a soldier makes before going to war. Madison set the table, humming to herself. Candles flickered, the scent of roasted chicken filled the air, and a bottle of red wine sat chilling. She checked her reflection in the mirror. She looked perfect. Tonight was their 8th wedding anniversary, and Liam had been distant lately. She needed to fix that. She just had to make sure he never found out. The sound of the front door opening made her turn. Liam stepped inside, looking calm. Too calm. "Happy anniversary, babe," she said, stepping forward to kiss him. He let her. She smiled, pressing against him. "I made your favorite." Liam sat down at the table, pouring himself a glass of wine. His hands were steady, his face unreadable. "So," he said, taking a slow sip. 8 years, huh?" Madison let out a breath of relief. Maybe he wasn't acting distant because he suspected anything. Maybe he was just stressed. 8 amazing years, she said, reaching for his hand. "I know things haven't been perfect, but I love you, Liam. More than anything." He tilted his head. "More than anything?" She nodded. Liam smirked. Then, with a slow, deliberate motion, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. The DNA test results. Madison's stomach dropped. "Open it," he said. His voice was too soft, too controlled. Her hand shook as she took the paper. She unfolded it, her eyes scanning over the words. Her blood ran cold. "Liam," she whispered, her heart hammering. "I explain," he said. A tear slid down her cheek. She had to lie. She had to make him believe her. I didn't know. I swear, I didn't know, she choked out. Liam leaned forward, his face inches from hers. His eyes were dead. You're lying. Her breath hitched. Liam, please. I never meant to. A slow smile stretched across his lips. Happy anniversary, Madison. And just like that, everything she had built came crashing down. Silence hung in the air between them, thick and suffocating. Madison's hands trembled as she stared at the DNA results. I didn't know, Liam. I swear. Liam let out a slow breath, tilting his head. Didn't know? His voice was eerily calm. Too calm. That's interesting, because I remember you carrying her for 9 months. Madison's lips parted, but no sound came out. So tell me, Madison, who's her real father? Her eyes darted away. Liam, say his name. She swallowed hard, her chest rising and falling rapidly. The moment stretched until finally, she whispered, Carter. Liam closed his eyes for a second. Carter Reynolds. His best friend. The man he would have taken a bullet for. Rage burned inside him, but he didn't show it. Not yet. How long? He asked. Madison let out a broken sob. It was a mistake. How long? His grip tightened on the table edge. Tears streamed down her face. Since your second deployment, Liam chuckled. A dark, humorless sound. For years. For years of betrayal right under his nose. He leaned in close. And you let me love a child that wasn't mine. Madison sobbed harder. She's still yours, Liam. You raised her. She loves you. She thinks of you as her father. Liam's jaw clenched. That's what hurt the most. Aubrey was his. Not by blood, but in every way that mattered. You don't get to say that. He stood up, towering over her. Pack your things, Madison. This marriage is over. Her eyes widened in panic. Liam, please. Think about Aubrey. At the mention of his daughter, something inside him twisted painfully. This wasn't just about revenge on Madison and Carter. This was about Aubrey too, and he wasn't letting her go that easily. Liam barely slept that night. He sat in the living room, staring at the dim glow of the streetlights outside. Madison had locked herself in the guest room, crying herself to sleep. He didn't care. His thoughts were on Aubrey. Did she deserve to have her world ripped apart because of her mother's lies? His fingers tapped against his phone. His lawyer. He needed a lawyer. At sunrise, Madison emerged from the guest room, eyes swollen. Liam, please. Let's talk about this. He looked up at her. We're done. The only thing we need to discuss is custody. Her face paled. What? I want full custody of Aubrey. Madison's body went rigid. She's my daughter. You're not even her real father. Liam's heart stopped. Not her real father. That cut deeper than anything. He stood up slowly, towering over her. I am the only father she has ever known. I was there when she took her first steps. I was the one who held her when she cried. I tucked her in every night while you were sneaking off with Carter. Madison shook her head. She loves you, but you can't take her away from me. Watch me. Her breath hitched. Liam, please, he grabbed his car keys. I'm going to see my lawyer. You have until the end of the day to get your things and get out. And with that, he walked out, knowing damn well this fight was far from over. Liam sat in his lawyer's office, tension coiled in his chest like a loaded gun. You want to file for full custody? The lawyer, Jacob Myers, asked, raising an eyebrow. Yes, Liam said, his voice steady. Madison is an unfit mother. She cheated for years. Lied about my daughter's paternity. She doesn't deserve her. Jacob sighed. Liam, I get it. But the court favors biological parents. You're not her father by blood. That's going to make this a very tough fight. Liam clenched his jaw. She is my daughter. And I'm not letting Carter Reynolds raise her. The lawyer sat back, studying him. Then we need to build a case. A strong one. You need proof that Madison is unfit. And if you can prove Carter is unstable, that helps too. Liam's eyes darkened. Carter wasn't just unstable. He was dangerous. I'll get you everything you need. Jacob nodded. Then let's begin. Madison hadn't moved from the couch in hours. She just sat there, gripping her phone so tightly her knuckles turned white. Liam wasn't supposed to fight back. He was supposed to yell, throw things, maybe even cry. But instead, he was calm. Too calm. That terrified her. She jumped when her phone buzzed. "Carter, we need to talk. Now." Her stomach churned. Carter had been panicking ever since Liam found out. He had more to lose than she did. But she didn't have time to worry about him. She had to focus on saving herself. She glanced toward the hallway. Aubrey was still asleep. Thank God. The front door opened, and her breath caught. Liam was back. He stepped inside, his movements slow, controlled. He didn't look at her, just dropped his keys on the table and poured himself a glass of water. "Liam, please." Her voice cracked. "We can fix this. We can go to therapy." He let out a cold laugh. "Fix this? Are you out of your mind?" Madison swallowed hard. "I love you. I made a mistake, but I never stopped loving you." Liam's grip on the glass tightened. That word. Mistake. He turned to face her, his expression unreadable. "You didn't make a mistake, Madison. You made a choice. Over and over again." She flinched. "What about Aubrey? She needs us both." His jaw clenched. "No. She needs me." Her heart pounded. "You're not taking my daughter." Liam set his glass down carefully. "Then I guess I'll see you in court." Madison's stomach twisted in fear. He wasn't bluffing. Liam sat across from Madison at the dinner table, watching as she forced a smile. She thought she could manipulate him. She had been extra sweet all day, acting like a loving wife, touching his hand, cooking his favorite meals. She was trying to make him doubt himself, make him think twice about leaving. It wasn't going to work. "You know, we don't have to go through with this," Madison said softly. "We can fix our marriage. Start over." Liam swirled his fork in his pasta. Start over? After 6 years of lies? Tears welled up in her eyes. "I know I hurt you, but I swear it didn't mean anything. Carter, he was just a mistake. But you and me? We have history. We have a family." Liam clenched his jaw. She still didn't get it. She thought this was about her. She thought he was going to cave, fall into her arms, and pretend the last 6 years hadn't been a lie. He leaned forward, his voice dangerously low. "Let me ask you something, Madison. If I had cheated on you, if I had gotten another woman pregnant, would you be sitting here, telling me we could start over?" Her breath hitched. "That's different." Liam chuckled. "Of course it is. Because you got to be the one doing the betraying." She reached for his hand. "Liam, please." He let her touch him. Let her believe she was winning. Because when she let her guard down, he was going to destroy her. Liam stood outside the rundown bar on the outskirts of town, his fists clenched at his sides. Carter Reynolds. The man who had ruined his family. He wasn't just a traitor. He was a fraud. A liar. A criminal. Liam had spent the last week digging into Carter's past. And what he found? It was worse than he expected. The man had been dishonorably discharged from the military. Stolen valor. Fraud. Gambling debts. And now he was drowning in financial trouble. Liam stepped inside the bar, scanning the crowd until he spotted Carter in a booth, nursing a whiskey. Alone. Desperate. Perfect. Liam approached, sliding into the seat across from him. Carter stiffened. "Liam." Liam didn't speak. Just pulled out his phone, swiping through the files he had collected. When he found what he wanted, he placed the phone on the table, letting Carter see the court documents, bank statements, and arrest records. Carter's face drained of color. "Where the hell did you get this?" he hissed. Liam smirked. "You really think I wouldn't do my homework?" Carter swallowed hard. "What do you want?" Liam leaned in, his voice calm. "I want you out of my daughter's life. Permanently." Carter's jaw tightened. "She's my kid." Liam's smile disappeared. "You didn't give a damn about her for 6 years. You don't get to play father now." Carter shifted uncomfortably. "I won't let you take her from me." Liam chuckled, shaking his head. "Oh, Carter. You don't have a choice." Carter frowned. "What are you?" Liam slid an envelope across the table. "Sign the papers. Give up your parental rights. Walk away. Or," he gestured to the phone, "I release all of this to the authorities. And let's just say, the judge won't be too kind to a man with your record." Carter stared at the documents, his hands shaking. "You bastard." Liam's eyes darkened. "No, Carter. You're the bastard. I'm just the one making sure you pay for it. The silence stretched between them. Carter reached for the pen, and Liam knew he had one. Liam stood outside the bank, watching Madison's world crumble in real time. Inside, through the glass windows, he saw her arguing with the teller, her voice rising in panic. She didn't understand. Not yet. But she would. Minutes later, she stormed outside, her face flushed, her phone clutched in a death grip. The moment she saw him, she froze. You. Her voice was sharp, accusing. What did you do? Liam took a slow sip of his coffee. Something wrong, sweetheart? Her nostrils flared. My account is empty. The savings, everything is gone. He tilted his head. That's strange. Maybe you should check with your lawyer. Oh, wait, you don't have one. Her face contorted with rage. You stole from me. Liam chuckled. Stole? Oh, no, Madison. That was our money. And since the divorce papers are already being drawn up, I figured I'd take what's mine before you tried to. Her breathing was erratic now. She was losing control. You can't just leave me with nothing, Liam. I gave you 8 years of my life. He stepped closer, towering over her. You gave me lies. I gave you my loyalty. We're not the same. Madison's lips trembled. Aubrey, Liam's eyes darkened. Don't. You. Dare. Use her as an excuse. She flinched. Liam smirked. Welcome to rock bottom, Madison. Enjoy your stay. He turned and walked away, leaving her standing there, broke, helpless, and exactly where she deserved to be. The dominoes were falling. And Liam? He was the one pushing them. The next morning, Madison woke up to her worst nightmare. Her phone was blowing up. Texts, missed calls, hundreds of notifications. When she opened Facebook, her blood turned to ice. Every single person in their social circle had seen it. Screenshots of Carter and Madison's text messages, hotel reservations, hidden bank transfers. It was all there. Liam had exposed everything. Her hands shook as she read the comments. Wow, Madison, just wow. Imagine cheating on a Marine who was serving his country. Disgusting. You're a homewrecker, and you deserve everything coming to you. Poor Aubrey. She doesn't deserve this mess. Madison's stomach twisted violently. This couldn't be happening. A new text popped up. Erica, you should have told me the truth, Maddie. I would have warned you. No? I can't help you. Madison gritted her teeth. Liam, you bastard. Another text appeared. Carter, I told you this would backfire. Fix it. Madison clutched her head. Her life was falling apart. She had to do damage control. She had to stop Liam before he ruined her completely. She had to fight back. Carter slammed the door to his apartment, his hands shaking as he read the papers again. Arrest warrant. Fraud. Stolen valor. Tax evasion. Liam had dug deep. The bastard had gone for blood. His phone rang. Madison. He answered. What the hell did you tell him? Her voice was shaky. Nothing. I didn't say anything. I don't know how he found out. Carter's head pounded. Do you know what's happening right now? I could go to prison. I know. My life is destroyed too. Madison snapped. I lost my money, my reputation, everything. Carter ran a hand down his face. I need to get out of town. I need to. A loud knock on his door cut him off. His stomach dropped. Carter Reynolds. Open up. U.S. Marshals. His hands turned to ice. Madison, his voice shook. He set me up. A harder bang. Open the door now. Carter's breathing turned erratic. I need to run. I need to. The door burst open. Men in tactical gear swarmed in. Carter barely had time to react before they shoved him face first onto the ground. You're under arrest. Hands behind your back. The cold bite of metal cuffs snapped around his wrists. Carter screamed in rage. Madison, fix this. But all he heard was the phone clicking off. She had hung up on him. And that's when Carter knew he was on his own. Madison sat in the kitchen, gripping a cold cup of coffee, her body numb. Everything was gone. Carter had been arrested. Their affair was public. She had no money, no job, no support. And worst of all, Liam was taking Aubrey away. Her lawyer had warned her this morning. You don't have a strong case, Madison. The judge won't like what he sees. She had begged, pleaded, but nothing worked. Aubrey was her only link to Liam, and if she lost her, she lost everything. The front door opened. Madison turned, heart pounding. Liam stood there, his expression unreadable. "What are you doing here?" she whispered. Liam exhaled, packing Aubrey's things. Her chest tightened. "Liam, please, don't take her from me." He stared at her, cold, unforgiving. "You took my life from me. I'm just returning the favor." Madison let out a broken sob. "She's my daughter. You can't do this." Liam's jaw clenched. "She's better off without you." Tears streamed down Madison's face. "I love her." Liam's expression didn't change. "Then maybe you should have thought about that before you destroyed her family." He turned and walked down the hall. Minutes later, he emerged, Aubrey in his arms, her little backpack slung over his shoulder. Madison reached for her, but Liam stepped back. "You're not touching her." Aubrey blinked sleepily. "Mommy." Madison choked on a sob. "Baby, please. Mommy loves you." Liam's grip on their daughter tightened. "Say goodbye, Madison." She fell to her knees as he turned and walked out the door, taking everything that mattered with him. And this time, he wasn't coming back. Pause right here, amazing listeners. Did you know that most people who enjoy these stories never hit subscribe? If you're loving this content, now's the time. We've just hit 2,000 subscribers, and it's all thanks to you. Your support means the world, and I couldn't have done it without you. So, if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button and be part of this incredible journey. Also, drop a comment. Where are you watching from? I'd love to know. All right, let's continue the story. Madison sat in the dark, curled up on the couch, her phone clutched in her trembling hands. She had no one left. Her parents wouldn't talk to her. Her friends had abandoned her. Carter was rotting in a cell. And now, Aubrey was gone. She had never felt this alone, this empty. Then, as if fate wanted to mock her, her phone rang. Liam. Her heart leaped. She snatched it up, answering in a shaky breath. "Liam, please." Silence. Then, his deep, cold voice. "Why are you calling me?" Her eyes burned. "Because I need to see her. I need to see my daughter." Liam scoffed. "You mean my daughter?" Madison's breath hitched. "Liam, please. I'm sorry. I know I messed up, but don't take her from me." His voice remained unmoved. "You took everything from me, Madison. Now, you know how it feels." A sob tore from her throat. "I don't care about the money. I don't care about anything else. Just let me see her. Please." Liam exhaled slowly. "You don't deserve her. But I'll consider supervised visits." Hope flickered in her chest. "Thank you. Thank you so much." Don't thank me, Madison. You'll never have her back." Click. The line went dead. Madison crumbled to the floor, sobbing. She had lost. Liam walked into his lawyer's office, feeling lighter than he had in years. Jacob glanced up. "It's done. Papers are finalized." Liam nodded. "Good. I want her out of my life completely." Jacob hesitated. "She's requesting visitation rights." Liam clenched his jaw. "I already told her supervised visits at best." Jacob slid a document forward. "We can fight to remove her parental rights altogether." Liam's breath slowed. Could he do that? Could he take away everything from her? Madison was a liar, a cheater, but Aubrey loved her. Liam's mind raced. What was the right move? His lawyer studied him. "You don't have to decide now, but think about it. Do you really want her in your daughter's life?" Liam swallowed hard. He thought he wanted revenge. But what if winning meant becoming the villain? Aubrey sat on Liam's lap, coloring in her notebook, her little brow furrowed. Liam smiled softly. "What are you drawing, princess?" She held it up. A picture of him, her, and Madison. His chest tightened. Aubrey looked up at him, her big, innocent eyes filled with something deeper. "Daddy?" she whispered. Liam swallowed. "Yeah, baby." Her tiny fingers toyed with the corner of her paper. "Am I still your daughter?" Liam's breath caught. His heart broke. He pulled her close, kissing the top of her head. "You will always be my daughter, Aubrey. Always." She hesitated. "Even if Mommy lied?" His jaw clenched. "Yes. No matter what." You're mine. She smiled and snuggled into him. Liam closed his eyes, holding her tightly. This was all that mattered. Madison stood outside Liam's house, clutching her coat. This was her last chance. She knocked. When the door opened, Liam's icy stare greeted her. She inhaled sharply. I need to see her. Please. Liam studied her. Then, to her surprise, he stepped aside. Madison's heart soared. She rushed inside, scanning the room for Aubrey. Baby. Mommy's here. Footsteps. Aubrey peeked out from the hallway, her eyes wide. Mommy. Madison rushed forward, reaching for her. Aubrey stepped back. Madison's chest tightened. Sweetheart, come give Mommy a hug. Aubrey hesitated. Then she turned to Liam instead, wrapping her arms around his leg. Madison's heart shattered. Aubrey was afraid of her. Madison blinked rapidly, trying to hold herself together. Baby, Liam's voice cut through the tension. She doesn't need you, Madison. She has me. Tears welled in Madison's eyes. You turned her against me. Liam's eyes remained cold. No, you did that all by yourself. Silence. Then, Aubrey's small voice. I love you, Mommy, but I want to stay with Daddy. Madison's soul broke. This was it. The last straw. She had officially lost her daughter. She stumbled back, shaking her head. No, 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 no. Liam's voice was final. Goodbye, Madison. He shut the door in her face. And Madison? She finally understood what true loss felt like. Carter sat on the thin, hard mattress in his cell, his back against the cold concrete wall. His life was over. The betrayal had flipped. Liam had outplayed him. His lawyer was useless, barely trying to fight the charges. Fraud, stolen valor, tax evasion. Liam had dug deep. Too deep. His hands trembled as he stared at the wall, his mind spinning. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. He was supposed to have Madison, his daughter, his life. Now he had nothing. A guard approached. Reynolds, you got a visitor. Carter's stomach tightened. Madison. As he was led to the visitor's area, his heart pounded. He sat at the scratched-up table, waiting. Then, the last person he expected walked in. Liam, dressed in a crisp black jacket, looking calm, unshaken, powerful. Carter's fists clenched. What the hell are you doing here? Liam smirked, leaning forward. I wanted to see the aftermath. You know, make sure you were rotting nicely. Carter's face twisted in rage. You think you won, huh? Liam's smirk widened. Oh, Carter, I didn't just win. I erased you. Carter's body burned with hatred. You stole my daughter. Liam's eyes turned ice cold. You never had her. Aubrey isn't your daughter. She never will be. You were just the mistake that led to her being born. Carter's jaw locked. His breathing became ragged. Liam leaned in, his voice soft but lethal. You'll die in here, Carter. Alone. Forgotten. A disgrace. Carter's hands shook. Rage and fear battled in his chest. And as Liam stood up, walking away without another word, Carter knew it was true. This was his nightmare, and it would never end. Madison sat on the floor of the cheap motel, staring at the bottle of vodka in her hand. She was a wreck. No money. No home. No daughter. No Carter. The walls were closing in. She had spent the last week drinking herself into oblivion, trying to numb the agony clawing at her chest. Her phone lay on the floor beside her, its screen cracked. No messages. No calls. Nobody cared anymore. She thought of Aubrey, the last time she had seen her, the way she had held on to Liam, refusing to come to her. That moment had broken her. She took a shaky breath, grabbing her phone, scrolling to Liam's number. Her fingers hovered. Would he answer? Would he even care? She hesitated. Then she hit call. It rang. Once. Twice. Click. Voicemail. She let out a strangled sob. He wasn't even giving her a chance. Madison threw the phone across the room, her breath ragged, broken. Then a thought crept in. If she couldn't have her daughter, if she had nothing left, then what was the point? Her eyes flickered to the bottle. Her heartbeat slowed. Would anyone even miss her? Liam sat in his kitchen, drinking coffee, watching the sunlight stream through the window. For the first time in years, he felt at peace. Aubrey's laughter echoed from the living room, her giggles as she played with her toys warming his chest. This was what mattered. Then his phone buzzed. He grabbed it, frowning at the unknown number. Hello. A pause. Then, Mr. Grayson? This is Officer Daniels from the Charleston Police Department. We need to inform you, Madison Carter was found unconscious in a motel room this morning. Liam's breath stopped. She overdosed. A slow exhale. His chest tightened, but not in the way he expected. Is she alive? Barely. She was taken to the hospital. No family has claimed her. We wanted to inform you, given the situation. Liam closed his eyes. This was it. The final blow. Karma had done the rest. He should have felt victorious. But all he felt was nothing. He glanced toward the living room, where Aubrey played, unaware of what had just happened. And in that moment, he knew he had to make a choice. Liam sat in his truck outside the hospital, gripping the steering wheel so tight his knuckles turned white. He shouldn't be here. Madison had made her bed. She deserved to rot in it. But still, he had come. Maybe it was for closure. Maybe it was because, despite everything, she had once been the woman he loved. Or maybe it was for Aubrey. He stepped out, walking through the sterile white halls, his boots echoing against the tile. A nurse met him at the door. Are you family? Liam's jaw clenched. No, but I'm all she's got. She sighed, nodding. She's awake. But she's not in great shape. Liam pushed the door open. Madison lay on the hospital bed, her skin pale, her eyes hollow. She looked like a ghost. The moment she saw him, tears filled her eyes. You came. Liam didn't respond. He just stared at her, waiting. She let out a broken breath. I don't even know why I called you. I guess I thought, maybe if I was dying, you'd care. Liam's stomach twisted. Did he care? He stepped closer. You did this to yourself, Madison. You lied. You destroyed our family. Her lip trembled. I know, and I deserve this. For the first time, she didn't argue. She didn't manipulate. She was just empty. Is Aubrey okay? She whispered. Liam's expression softened slightly. She's happy. She's safe. A small, sad smile touched Madison's lips. Then maybe this is what was meant to happen. Liam exhaled. He didn't hate her anymore. He just felt tired. Maybe this was her karma. And maybe this was his closure. Aubrey ran across the playground, her blonde curls bouncing as she giggled. Liam sat on the bench, watching her, his heart lighter than it had been in years. She's happy, you know. Liam turned to see Jacob, his lawyer, sitting beside him. Liam nodded. Yeah, she is. Jacob exhaled. I have the finalized paperwork. The court granted you full custody. Madison didn't even fight it. Liam's chest tightened. She gave up. Jacob studied him. And that bothers you. Liam let out a slow breath. I just never thought she'd let go. Jacob shrugged. Maybe she realized the truth. That Aubrey's better off without her. Liam watched his daughter laughing with another little girl, pure joy in her eyes. She had a future. A real one. And for the first time since the nightmare began, Liam felt free. Madison stood on the edge of the bus station, a single suitcase by her side. She had nothing left in this town. No money. No friends. No daughter. She had signed away everything. A part of her still wondered if Liam would change his mind. If he would call her, tell her she could see Aubrey. But he wouldn't. Because she had destroyed him. She had destroyed herself. The bus pulled up, its doors hissing open. Madison took a deep breath. She would start over. Somewhere far away. She boarded, taking a window seat. And as the bus pulled away from Charleston, Madison took one last look at the city. Goodbye, Liam. Goodbye, Aubrey. She wiped a tear from her cheek. This was her punishment. And for the first time, she accepted it. Liam sat on the back porch, watching the sun dip below the horizon. The sky burned with streaks of orange and purple, but his mind was somewhere else. For the first time in months, there was no more war to fight. Madison was gone. Carter was rotting in prison. Aubrey was safe. But the scars remained. He sipped his whiskey, the burn of it grounding him. He thought about all the years he had spent loving a woman who had been lying to him. All the moments of his daughter's life that had been built on a lie. But was it really a lie? Aubrey wasn't his by blood, but that had never mattered. She was his. A small pair of footsteps padded onto the porch. Aubrey. She held her stuffed bunny close, rubbing her tired eyes. Daddy? Liam softened. What is it, princess? She hesitated. Are you sad? Liam exhaled, setting his drink down. A little, but I'm okay. Aubrey climbed onto his lap, curling against him. You don't have to be sad. I love you, Daddy. His chest tightened. That was all that mattered. He pressed a kiss to her head, holding her close. And I love you, baby girl. Always. And in that moment, the ghosts of the past finally began to fade. It had been a month since Madison left town. Liam thought he was done with her. But when his phone rang and he saw an unknown number, something in his gut told him who it was. He hesitated. Then he answered. Silence. Then, a voice, weak, hesitant. Liam. His grip tightened on the phone. Madison. A heavy pause. I wanted to say goodbye. Liam's jaw clenched. You already did. A shaky breath. I know, but I wanted to hear your voice one last time. Liam stayed silent. Madison sighed. I know I can never undo what I did. I know I destroyed everything. But Liam, you were the best thing that ever happened to me. And I never deserved you. His chest felt heavy. There was nothing left to say. So he simply exhaled. Take care of yourself, Madison. A beat. Then, softly, goodbye, Liam. Click. Liam stared at his phone. And just like that, she was gone. For real this time. The morning sun filtered through the windows as Liam tied Aubrey's shoelaces. She grinned up at him, her missing front tooth making her smile even cuter. Are we still going for ice cream after school? Liam chuckled. Of course. A deal's a deal. She hugged him tight. You're the best, Daddy. His heart swelled. This was what he had fought for. Not revenge. Not destruction. A future. He watched as she ran toward the school bus, waving at him before climbing aboard. And for the first time in a long, long time, Liam felt truly at peace. Liam stood in his garage, hands resting on an old wooden chest. It had been sitting there for years, sealed, untouched. It held memories from his old life. The life before everything fell apart. He hesitated before opening it. The past was already buried, but some wounds never truly healed. The lid creaked as he lifted it. Inside were pieces of a life he no longer recognized. Wedding photos. Madison in her white dress, smiling as if she truly loved him. Letters he had sent from deployment. Pages filled with devotion to a woman who had been sleeping with his best friend. Aubrey's baby blanket. The same one he had wrapped her in the first time he held her. His throat tightened. He had lost so much. But in a strange way, he had also won. He picked up one of the letters, rereading his own words. No matter where I am, I'll always come home to you. He scoffed. What a joke. The past didn't own him anymore. It was time to let it go. One by one, he tossed the items into the fireplace. The photographs curled and burned, the faces that once haunted him turning to ash. As the flames crackled, something inside him shifted. The past no longer had power over him. He was free. The prison was cold, sterile, and lifeless. Carter sat across from his lawyer, his jaw clenched tight. What are my chances? The lawyer sighed, shaking his head. You're looking at 20 years, Carter. There's no way out of this. Carter's fingers curled into fists. There has to be something. A deal. Anything. The lawyer adjusted his glasses. There was a deal on the table. But the only person who could have helped you signed your rights away. Carter frowned. What are you talking about? The lawyer slid a document across the table. Carter's eyes widened as he read it. Parental rights terminated. Signed by Madison Carter. His blood ran cold. She had abandoned him. Left him to rot. That bitch. His voice was venom. The lawyer sighed. You played a dangerous game, Carter. And Liam? He played it better. Carter's whole body shook with rage. Madison had been his last hope, and now she was gone. Liam had won. And Carter? He would die in this cell. Liam sat across from Jacob in the lawyer's office, a thick envelope between them. This is it, Liam. The final decision. Jacob tapped the papers. You have the option to change Aubrey's last name. To make it official. Liam stared at the papers. Aubrey Grayson. It had always been that way in his heart. But now, it would be legal. Permanent. He picked up the pen, the weight of the moment settling deep in his chest. His mind flashed back to everything, finding out the truth, losing everything, fighting tooth and nail to keep his daughter. Now, she was truly his. He pressed the pen to the paper, signing his name with steady hands. Jacob smiled. Congratulations, Liam. You're officially her father. Liam exhaled, feeling something he hadn't in years. Peace. He stood, shaking Jacob's hand. As he left the office, a single thought settled in his mind. This wasn't the end. This was the beginning. Liam sat in his living room, watching Aubrey play with her dolls, when the doorbell rang. He wasn't expecting anyone. His instincts kicked in immediately. He stood up, his mind racing with possibilities. He opened the door and froze. Madison. She looked different. Thinner. Tired. Hollow. For a moment, they just stared at each other. Then, she spoke. I need to talk to you. Liam's jaw clenched. We have nothing to talk about. She swallowed. It's about Aubrey. His body stiffened. What about her? Madison hesitated. Fear flickered in her eyes. Liam narrowed his gaze. What the hell did you do? She took a deep breath. It's not what I did. Liam didn't invite Madison, Indiana. She stood on the porch, arms wrapped around herself, looking like she was holding something back. Start talking, Madison. His voice was sharp. What's coming? She shifted nervously. Carter had friends. People who don't take kindly to betrayals. Liam frowned. Carter's locked up. Who the hell cares about him now? Madison licked her lips. You don't understand. These aren't just his friends. These are people he owed. Bad people. Liam's jaw tightened. And why the hell would they come after me? Madison exhaled. Because he blamed you. He told them you set him up. That you ruined him. Liam's blood ran cold. Madison's voice dropped. Liam, they don't just let things go. If they come, they won't just come for you. They'll come for Aubrey. Rage exploded inside him. If you're lying, I'm not. Her voice cracked. Liam, I know I don't deserve anything from you. But please, be careful. Liam's mind raced. He had taken Carter down. But had he started something even bigger? One thing was certain. If anyone came for his daughter, he would bury them. Liam couldn't sleep. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, his muscles coiled with tension. Was Madison telling the truth? Or was this another manipulation? His instincts told him she wasn't lying. And his instincts had never failed him before. Then a noise. Outside, Liam's body snapped into action. He grabbed the gun from his nightstand, moving silently through the house. He checked on Aubrey first. She was sound asleep, her tiny hands clutching her stuffed bunny. His chest tightened. He would never let anything happen to her. He crept toward the front door, peering through the peephole. Nothing. But then, a shadow moved across the street. Liam's grip on the gun tightened. Someone was watching his house. His heart pounded with cold fury. Let them come. Let them try. He was ready. And if they wanted war, they just found the wrong damn Marine to mess with. I hope you've all subscribed by now. Your support means the world. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Let me know that from where you are listening to my stories. I'm excited to hear your feedback and engage with you all. Keep the positivity coming. Liam sat in the darkened living room, his gun resting on the table in front of him. He hadn't slept in 2 nights. Not since he saw the shadow across the street. Not since Madison's warning. He checked the security cameras on his phone. No movement. But he wasn't stupid. If someone was watching, they wouldn't make it easy to catch them. Aubrey's soft breathing echoed down the hall. She was safe. That was all that mattered. He exhaled, his mind racing. He needed a plan. If Carter's old connections were coming for him, he couldn't just wait. He needed to take control. A name flashed in his mind. Declan Hayes. An old military buddy. A man who specialized in cleaning up messes like this. Liam grabbed his phone and dialed. The line picked up after 1 ring. Grayson. Long time. Declan's voice was rough, familiar. Liam didn't waste time. I need intel. Now. A beat of silence. Then, Declan's tone shifted. Serious. What kind of trouble are we talking? Liam glanced toward the window. The kind that doesn't leave loose ends. Declan exhaled. Send me names. I'll dig. Liam's grip tightened on the phone. And if it's bad? A pause. Then, Declan's voice was cold, final. Then we handle it. Liam ended the call, his heart pounding. If someone was coming for him and his daughter, they wouldn't live long enough to regret it. 2 days later, Liam pulled up to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. Declan had called him. Urgent. He stepped inside, his muscles tense, his senses razor-sharp. Declan stood in the dim light, arms crossed, a file in his hands. Tell me what you found. Liam's voice was steady, controlled. Declan tossed the file onto the table. Your ex wasn't lying. Carter was into some real deep shit before you took him down. And now? His old associates want revenge. Liam clenched his jaw. Who are they? Declan opened the file, flipping through photos. Meet Vincent Moretti, former arms dealer. Ran with Carter back in the day. Word is, Carter owed him money, big money. And when you destroyed Carter, that debt didn't disappear. It shifted. Liam's blood ran ice cold. Shifted to me. Declan nodded. And Moretti? He doesn't let debts slide. He makes examples out of people. Ugly ones. Liam stared at the photos, gruesome images of Moretti's past victims. They're already watching me. Liam's voice was steel. Declan's expression darkened. Then it's only a matter of time before they move. Liam's fist curled. Not if I move first. Liam parked outside his house, his mind working 10 steps ahead. He had fought in wars. He knew how to defend, attack, and eliminate threats. Moretti wanted to come for him? Then Liam would welcome him with open arms. He stepped inside and found Aubrey on the couch, coloring. She looked up, beaming. Daddy, look. I drew us. Liam smiled, crouching beside her. She had drawn a picture of them holding hands in front of their house. His chest ached. She deserved a normal life, a safe life, and he would make damn sure she had one. That's beautiful, princess. He kissed the top of her head. Then he rose to his feet and dialed Declan. It's time to end this. Declan's voice was calm. Tell me what you need. Liam's eyes burned with ruthless determination. I want Moretti out of the picture. Permanently. Declan didn't hesitate. Done. I'll set up the meeting. Liam exhaled slowly. This was it. The final battle. And when it was over, Aubrey would finally be safe. Liam sat in the dimly lit garage, cleaning his Glock with calm, practiced movements. His mind was razor-sharp, focused. This wasn't just about survival anymore. This was about ending the threat permanently. Moretti had made a fatal mistake. He had made Liam his problem. And Liam? He was a soldier, a warrior, a man who didn't lose. His phone buzzed. Declan, we got a location. Moretti's men have a warehouse near the docks. Small crew. We can take them. Liam nodded, standing. Good. We move tonight. Declan hesitated. You sure about this? Once we do this, there's no turning back. Liam's jaw tightened. I was sure the moment they threatened my daughter. Declan exhaled. All right. I'll set it up. Be ready. Liam ended the call and turned to the hallway. Aubrey's bedroom door was cracked open, her soft breathing steady. He stepped inside, kneeling beside her bed. She stirred, opening sleepy eyes. Daddy. His chest ached. I'm here, baby girl. I'll always be here. She reached for his hand, squeezing it before drifting back into sleep. Liam stood, his resolve hardening. By morning, Moretti would no longer be a problem. The docks were eerily silent, the air thick with salt and smoke. Liam crouched beside Declan behind a stack of shipping containers, surveying the warehouse. For men outside. Probably more inside. Declan whispered. Liam smirked. Not enough. Declan nodded. Let's do this. They moved like ghosts. Silent. Deadly. The first guard didn't even see it coming. A swift knife to the throat. The second turned too late. Liam's bullet took him down. Gunfire erupted. The warehouse doors burst open, Moretti's men pouring out. Liam and Declan took cover, returning fire with precision and fury. Liam moved fast, his body a machine. One by one, they fell. Then, a voice. Grayson. Liam turned, his gun trained. Moretti stood at the entrance, a pistol in his hand, a twisted grin on his face. Did you really think you could take me down so easily? Moretti sneered. Liam's eyes burned with cold fire. No, but I knew you'd show your face. And now? You're done. Moretti laughed. You sure about that? A sharp pain exploded in Liam's side. A bullet. He gritted his teeth, stumbling. A sniper. They had a sniper. Declan fired back, taking out the shooter. Moretti smirked. Looks like you're bleeding, soldier. Liam growled. Yeah? So are you. He pulled the trigger. Moretti's smile vanished as a bullet tore through his chest. He staggered, eyes wide, before collapsing to the ground. Silence. Liam exhaled, pressing a hand to his bleeding side. Declan helped him up. We need to go? Now. Liam nodded. Moretti was dead. The war was over. Now he just had to make it home. The truck sped through the empty streets, Liam gripping his wound, his vision blurring. Stay with me, man, Declan said, his voice tense. Liam gritted his teeth. I'm fine. But he wasn't. The pain was spreading, his body fighting to stay conscious. His mind drifted to Aubrey. Her smile. Her laugh. The way she held his hand. He had to make it. He had to. Declan slammed on the brakes, pulling up to a private clinic. You're not dying today, brother, Declan muttered as he helped Liam inside. Doctors rushed toward them. The world spun. Then darkness. Darkness. Silence. A strange, floating sensation. Liam was trapped somewhere between consciousness and oblivion. His body felt heavy, like he was sinking into the abyss, but his mind fought against it. Then, a voice. Faint. Familiar. Aubrey. Daddy, please wake up. His heart clenched. He had to wake up. He had to go back to her. With a slow, painful effort, Liam forced his way through the thick fog, his mind clawing for reality. Then, light. Blinding light. His eyes cracked open, and the sharp scent of antiseptic filled his nose. A steady beeping echoed in his ears. Hospital. He tried to move, but pain ripped through his side. He gritted his teeth, his muscles tense. You're awake. Liam turned his head slowly. Declan sat in the chair beside him, arms crossed, exhaustion clear in his eyes. Liam's voice came out rough. How long? Declan sighed. 3 days. Liam's stomach twisted. 3 days? Panic struck. Aubrey, she's safe. Declan reassured him. I had my guys watching her around the clock. Nobody came near her. Liam exhaled slowly, relief washing over him. Then the door creaked open. Daddy. Aubrey ran toward the bed, her eyes wide with tears. Liam ignored the pain and reached for her. She climbed onto the bed carefully, her tiny hands holding his. I thought you weren't coming back. Her voice was small, fragile. Liam swallowed hard. I promised you, baby girl. I always come back. She sniffled and nodded, pressing her forehead against his arm. Liam glanced at Declan. Moretti. Declan smirked. Dead. His crew scattered. You're clear. Liam let out a slow breath. It was over, but the damage was done. And now, he had to pick up the pieces. Recovery was slow. Liam wasn't used to being weak. He had spent his life fighting, surviving, pushing forward. But now, every movement burned. Every breath was a reminder that he had come dangerously close to losing everything. Aubrey rarely left his side. She would sit next to him, coloring or reading, as if afraid he would disappear if she looked away. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, she climbed onto the bed beside him. Does it still hurt? She asked, her small hand resting on his bandaged side. Liam chuckled softly. Not as much as before. She frowned. I don't want you to fight anymore. Liam sighed, brushing a strand of hair from her face. I had to, sweetheart. To keep you safe. Her lips trembled. What if you didn't wake up? His chest ached. Not from the wound, but from her pain. He pulled her close. That won't happen. I promise. She nodded, but he could tell she didn't believe it. Liam realized something then. Aubrey had been through hell, too. Not just him. And it was his job to make sure she never felt unsafe again. No more war. No more enemies. It was time to give his daughter the peace she deserved. Liam was sitting on the back porch, sipping coffee, when his phone rang. A number he hadn't seen in weeks. Madison. His jaw tightened. He could ignore it. Let her stay in the past where she belonged. But something in his gut told him to answer. He pressed the button. Speak. A long pause. Then, a broken voice. Liam. I don't know where else to go. Liam leaned back, his grip tightening on the mug. That's not my problem anymore. Please. Just let me talk to Aubrey. Liam's teeth clenched. Why? So you can confuse her? Make her feel sorry for you. Madison let out a choked sob. I miss her. Liam closed his eyes, exhaling slowly. You signed away your rights. You made your choice. She's my daughter now. I know, but I still love her. And I don't want her to hate me. Liam's chest tightened. Hate. Aubrey never spoke badly about Madison. She had simply moved on. And maybe that was worse. Liam sighed. I'll think about it. But if you ever try to manipulate her, Madison, I swear you'll never hear from either of us again. A broken whisper. I understand. Then a click. Liam set the phone down, rubbing his temples. Aubrey had lost one parent already. He wouldn't let her lose herself because of it. Maybe, just maybe, she deserved to decide for herself. Liam sat on the porch, staring at his phone. Madison's broken voice still echoed in his mind. Just let me talk to Aubrey. His grip tightened. Why now? Why after everything? Aubrey had finally found peace. She laughed more, slept better, stopped asking about her mother. Would bringing Madison back into her life heal her, or reopen the wounds? Declan's voice pulled him from his thoughts. You gonna tell her? Liam exhaled. I don't know. Declan sat beside him, lighting a cigarette. Kid's been through enough. You sure you want to let her deal with Madison's mess? Liam ran a hand down his face. I don't want her to grow up resenting me. If I make this decision for her, am I any better than Madison was? Declan nodded slowly. Then maybe you don't decide. Maybe you ask Aubrey what she wants. Liam's stomach twisted. She was only 6. Was she ready for this? Later that night, after dinner, Liam sat on the couch, watching Aubrey color. He cleared his throat. Sweetheart, I need to ask you something important. She looked up. What is it, Daddy? Liam hesitated. Your mom called. She wants to talk to you. But only if you want to. Aubrey blinked. For a long moment, she didn't speak. Then, softly, does she miss me? Liam's heart ached. Yeah, baby. She does. Aubrey chewed her lip. Will you be there if I talk to her? Liam nodded. Always. Aubrey thought for a moment, then gave a small nod. Liam exhaled. Tomorrow, Madison would hear her daughter's voice for the first time in months. But was it a mistake? The next afternoon, Liam sat with Aubrey on the couch, the phone on speaker between them. It rang once. Twice. Then, Madison's hesitant voice. Hello. Aubrey clutched Liam's arm, her little fingers digging into his skin. Mommy. A choked sob from the other end. Oh, baby. I've missed you so much. Aubrey swallowed hard. Why did you leave? Liam's stomach clenched. A child's innocent question, but a dagger straight to the heart. Madison's voice cracked. I didn't leave you, baby. I made mistakes, and I didn't want to hurt you anymore. Aubrey frowned. But you did hurt me. Silence. Then, softly, I know. And I'm so sorry. Aubrey hesitated. Are you coming back? Liam's breath caught. Please don't lie to her. Please don't fill her head with false hope. Madison exhaled. No, sweetheart. I'm not. But that doesn't mean I don't love you. Aubrey's lips trembled. Do you still think about me? Every day. Madison whispered. A tear slid down Aubrey's cheek. Liam's chest tightened, his hand resting on her back. Madison sniffled. I hope, one day, you'll forgive me. Aubrey was silent for a long time. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, I already have. Madison broke. A sob echoed through the speaker. Oh, baby. Liam cleared his throat. That's enough for today. Madison let out a shaky breath. Okay. Thank you, Liam, for letting me hear her voice. Aubrey wiped her eyes. Bye, Mommy. Click. The call ended. Aubrey climbed into Liam's lap, burying her face in his chest. He stroked her hair, holding her tight. "You okay, sweetheart?" A shaky nod. "I love you, Daddy." Liam kissed the top of her head. "I love you more." And in that moment, he knew she was strong enough. She had faced her past, and now she could finally move forward. Weeks passed. Madison didn't call again. She had gotten her closure. Liam focused on what mattered, building the future Aubrey deserved. One evening, as they sat on the porch watching the sunset, Aubrey turned to him. "Daddy." Liam smiled. "Yeah, baby." She hesitated, then grinned. "Can we get a puppy?" Liam laughed. "A puppy? You think I'm ready for that kind of chaos?" Aubrey giggled. "You're a soldier, Daddy. You can handle anything." Liam chuckled, shaking his head. "All right, but you're picking up the poop." Aubrey beamed. "Deal." Liam watched as she ran inside, already making a list of dog names. For the first time in a long time, he felt light. Free. The past no longer haunted him. The battle was over. And in its place, a new beginning. Liam stood outside the pet adoption center, watching as Aubrey bounced on her heels with excitement. "Come on, Daddy. We have to find the perfect one." Liam chuckled, shaking his head. All right. But remember, this is a big responsibility." Aubrey grinned. "I know. I promise I'll take care of everything." They stepped inside, and almost immediately, Aubrey was drawn to a small golden retriever puppy. "This one," she gasped, crouching down as the puppy licked her face. Liam smirked. "You sure? That little guy looks like trouble." Aubrey giggled, hugging the puppy. "I love trouble." Liam sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Great. Just what I need, two troublemakers." But as he watched his daughter's laughter fill the room, he realized this was exactly what they needed. A new adventure. A new beginning. And this time, there was no more fear. No more betrayal. Just family. Liam and Aubrey sat on the couch, the new puppy curled up beside them. Aubrey looked up at him suddenly. "Daddy?" Liam raised an eyebrow. "What's up, sweetheart?" She hesitated, then asked the question that hit him straight in the chest. "Are you happy now?" Liam's breath caught. He looked around, his home, his daughter, their new puppy. The past had nearly destroyed him, but he had rebuilt. He ruffled her hair. "Yeah, baby. I'm happy." Aubrey smiled. "Me too." And just like that, the last piece of the puzzle fell into place. Liam stood on the beach, the waves crashing gently against the shore. He reached into his pocket, pulling out a small photograph, a picture of him and Madison from years ago. He stared at it for a long moment. Then, without hesitation, he let the wind carry it away. The past was gone. He turned back, watching Aubrey play with the puppy, her laughter echoing in the air. This was it, the life they had fought for. Liam exhaled, his heart light. No more war. No more ghosts. Just peace. "Now, I have one last question for you. After everything Liam and Aubrey went through, was this the ending you hoped for? Or did you want something different? Tell me in the comments. And before you go, where are you watching from? Let's see how far this story has reached. If you love this thriller and want more, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next jaw-dropping story. Until then, take care and stay amazing. See you in the next one. The end.